Creating a monoprint like in Luci Soars. First, I gather all my materials: tracing paper, pencil, the paper I will print on, the Golden brand slow drying acrylics, the open thinner, all sorts of brushes, and any materials that will help me create textures. Then I create a simple drawing, flip it over, and place it under the glass where I will be applying the paint. I need to register this glass so I can place my paper always on the same spot. That way I can do different layers. In this case, for this particular monoprint, I'm going to work only in black, or mostly in black. And show you that you can do many textures with just using black and the white of the paper. The paper needs to be an absorbent kind of paper. I use arches for printing. And you can use many tools in order to press. You can press with a spoon. You can press with a hand press. I sometimes even use my nails in order to, or my fingers, in order to press gently certain areas. You're literally drawing the reverse of the illustration that you like on this glass. The glass that I use is usually large enough to have my paper comfortably on it, and it's a glass that can be a glass, the kind of glass that you would have on a frame. Actually, I've unframed pieces of art in order to use its glass. Now what I'm doing is creating a mask for the tree that I would like to have. I create a mask with any, extra paper that I have, and I simply tape it. Tape it to the glass. I'm always very careful at checking that the paper is exactly on the registered marks. What I'm doing right now is rolling some ink, and you see, sometimes you make mistakes, right? This is a very messy technique, and you end up with dirty hands, that's for sure. But it's a very fun technique. I really love it because it's plenty of chances for happy accidents, what I call happy accidents. So once I remove my mask, I have to put the paper on top and work quickly. Otherwise, the ink dries, even though these are slow drying acrylics, and I am using their thinner, the golden thinner, in order to stretch the time that it's still wet, the paint is still wet. Even though I do that, they do dry fast. So you have to work fast, and this is one of the reasons that I do several layers in order to achieve all the shapes that I want in my picture. And I also, you may notice that I leave the ghost on the glass. It is dry. It dries so quickly that after I press the paper, it's entirely gone. The ink, the wetness is gone. But I use it, I leave it there because it also helps me in making sure that I am laying the paper on the exact spot that I want it to lay and that I'm not making mistakes. One of the other things that I do in order to help myself to keep my paper registered is to use the glass table. You see that I have the glass table. On top of it, I have grid paper, and on top of it is the sketch and then the glass onto which I am painting the mirror image of the illustration that I would like to have in the end. Textures can be created in many ways. I use brushes, I use different materials. You can use toothbrushes if you want, you can use tissue paper, you can also remove paint in order to create a white space. You can create masks with paper like I showed you. And sometimes you go over something. If you don't like it, you can go over several times. But the point is that in working with one color, with black in this case, I'm trying to create different textures and different grays to add interest to the piece. I'm correcting here, like you see, straightening with some blades that I wouldn't be using with kids. You can use other tools like spatulas if kids are gonna make a monoprint like this. Sometimes the ink dries so fast that I have to go in there and re-ink an area in order to have the color or the shade that I want. You can see that I'm adding some black because the little shape, the square shape that I had did not soak up all the paint. I call it ink, but it's actually paint that I had in there. You can also work with ink to do certain. It has a different quality when it's applied to the glass and when it's soaked by the paper. And this is a technique that benefits from you to from the artist trying many things, doing many tests with many different materials prior to actually doing your final illustration.